Hey guys, it's your host, Bailey Cartwright. Welcome to the Stronger Scars podcast, where I invite others to dive deep into the ups and downs of physical and mental scars. Hello everyone, welcome back to this week's episode of the Stronger Scars podcast. I'm joined today with Nick Pronovost, and he is a fifth year at UConn, where he plays track and field or runs track and field. I always don't know what to say for that.
Yeah, neither do I. Whatever.
But thanks for being here, Nick. Why don't you go ahead and just introduce yourself to everyone?
Yeah, thanks for having me. So I'm Nick. I'm a fifth year, and I'm a fifth year because of injury. So I came in injured my senior year of high school. I tore my UCL on my elbow. So coming in was tough, but we kept going, and I got injured again, and then got injured again, and now we're here. So we'll talk about it.
Yeah. So interesting. So is that Tommy John?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. My best friend tore hers playing soccer, which is so random. And then the last episode I did, another soccer girl fell and tore hers wildly. But that's interesting. Talk a little bit about, I kind of want to just dive right into the injuries because I know you tore your Achilles, which is very interesting to me. So we'll talk about that. But let's start with your senior year. What was that like going into college, already knowing that you aren't going to be, contributing to the team?
It was definitely tough, but I've been through surgery before. My junior year of high school, I had a sport hernia playing football, so it took me out for my whole junior year. So I kind of knew the whole process of surgery and how long it takes to get back. So once I tore the UCL, I called my coach. I'm like, Coach, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to come back. I don't know if you still want me. I called my UConn coach, and he's like, it's fine. You'll get the surgery. Just throw throughout the season. If it still bothers you, we'll get the surgery and then come back and try and throw here and get back. So kind of did that. But in high school, when I first tore it, I learned how to throw with my other hand. So for shot put and everything, I tried to throw with my left hand. It worked out all right. But then at nationals, I threw again with my right. And so I tried to get one throw out there to get the mark. But the first throw I put out, I faulted, so I had to throw again. So I already tore my UCL 2 times at that point, and I had to grunt it out and just get one more throw out. And then, and then I got All-American my senior year of high school.
Wow. Yeah, that's it's a crazy injury to me because most times people think baseball and pitchers, but it happens to a lot of other athletes more than not.
Yeah, and I started playing baseball too. So baseball was my number one sport. And then my friends were like, "Oh, try out track, let's see what happens." I'm like, "All right, cool, let's see what happens." And then that happened because I threw it like a baseball.
And is that did you instantly feel it?
Yeah, right away. I felt like a pop. It didn't hurt. It just kind of my fingers went numb, and that was it.
Wow. Okay, so let's back up a little bit. What are you involved in track? I'm pretty sure you do the how do you say it?
Heptathlon.
Heptathlon.
Yeah, so I do.
Explain what that is.
Yeah, so we got the heptathlon indoors and the decathlon outside. So it's basically the multi. So indoors we do 7 events because you can't throw discus or javelin inside. And then outside we do 10 events. So you come out, you start with 100, long jump, shot put, high jump, 400. That's day 1. Then you come out for day 2, and then you run the 100, 110-meter hurdles, throw discus, pole vault, javelin, and then the 1500.
What? You're taking all that?
Yeah.
I did not know that. That is so interesting because I totally was under the impression track, you're running or doing one event, and you specialize in that.
Yeah, that's usually how it is, but I wasn't feeling it. I didn't want to specialize in one thing. So that's kind of why I tried out track and I stuck with it because I was right about to get back to baseball, and my coach was like, "Hey, stick it out. Let's try out the decathlon. I think you'd like it." So I'm like, "All right, let's see what happens."
Wow. What's your favorite event in it?
Oh, that's tough. I mean, I do like the hurdles because I'm not super fast, but I'm fast enough when there's something in my way. So I think I like the hurdles.
Okay, interesting. I've definitely heard of those, but I don't know. I didn't even know it was a thing in college, to be honest.
Yeah, I didn't either. I didn't think track was even a big thing. I grew up 6 miles from campus. I didn't even know that UConn had a track team. It was crazy.
So when do you get recruited for track? I know you said you were planning on pursuing baseball and then you kind of switch gears, but when is track recruitment starting and committing?
So I committed. I went on my official in October because I had to miss one of my football practices to come on the official visit here. So they kind of do officials in the fall, and then you commit around like winter to like beginning of spring.
Okay. And does your team have like 100 people on it?
Yeah. So we'll kind of like our scholarships are getting cut just because like budgeting at UConn. There's stuff going on upstairs. We don't really know what's going on. So we went from 12 and a half scholarships down to 6, the whole team. So
Wow.
it's a big cut, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of it really.
Interesting. Okay, well, let's talk about your Achilles. So I partially tore mine this summer, and that was the worst pain I've ever experienced in my life. So I can only imagine because you completely ruptured it, right?
Oh yeah, completely torn.
Like, I want to hear the story.
Yeah. So it was in the decathlon. So we finished day 1. I was in second place going into day 2, and I had a big PR for day 1, and we're looking good. I came out for day 2. My calves were a little bit tight, but I didn't think anything of it. Like I just thought it was normal tightness. So I rolled out. I was feeling fine in warm-ups. Then we get out there for the 110 hurdles. I come out strong. Like I'm leading the pack. There's only 3 of us in the race. But then we get down to the second to last hurdle, and I just felt like somebody kicked me in the back of the leg going over the second to last hurdle. And I started falling to the left, and I tried to control it, but I couldn't do anything about it. I didn't know what was going on. And then I just fell into the next hurdle. And then I realized that like I thought that I broke my shin. Like as crazy as it sounds, like I felt like I snapped my shin in half, and it was just like bare bone, like on the track, because I couldn't push off my toe. So I kind of like limped for it, and then like hobbled over the line, and then finished the race. I could not finish the race, so I just kind of like went for it, and then I didn't come in last, so I still beat a kid.
So yeah, it's like a very intense pain, like immediate feeling.
Oh
I
yeah,
I like I never knew someone like that had an Achilles injury, and then like luckily mine was only partial, but it's like it's really painful, like really, really painful.
yeah. Once I was on the ground on the track, I'm like, oh Patty, like my trainer Patty, I'm calling for her, and then she came out to figure out what's going on, and she's like, what's up, what's up? And I'm like, I don't know, my calf hurts, like right below my calf, and then she just went quiet for a second,
Yeah.
and then I just knew that wasn't good.
So walk us through the procedure after, because I know it's an ordeal and a half.
Yeah, so mine, I got lucky with where I tore mine. When you tear them a little bit lower, like closer to your heel, it takes longer to recover. But I tore mine a little bit higher, so there's more blood vessels around the tear. So it kind of helped with rejuvenation of the ligament. So my surgeon basically, I didn't need a cadaver or anything, so he just pulled them together and sewed the 2 ligaments together, like right where the tear was. And then I was in a boot for about a month and a half or 2 months. Then I started walking without crutches, without a boot. And now I'm getting back to the walk to run program right now. So yesterday I finally ran a mile, which is a big step. But
Yeah, congrats.
yeah, thank you.
So what is the total from like start to finish time?
So normally I think it's about a 9-month recovery, but because mine was torn in like a better spot, we're expecting like maybe 8 or 7 months. But right now I'm ahead of schedule, so hopefully we're
Yeah.
pulling for maybe November.
And I mean, like you still have, I mean, you guys are probably starting winter, right?
Yeah, yeah. Our first meet is December 9th, I think, but my goal is more outdoor. I'm just trying to train through the winter and get ready for outdoor.
You're the first person I've had on here with an Achilles injury. And like, I feel like it would be common in track, right?
Not as common as you'd think.
Really?
Like my trainer, like this was her first track related Achilles tear. Like we've had other athletes that tear it, like playing basketball or something like that. Um, but yeah, in track, like not that I've heard of. I don't know anybody else who's torn their Achilles in track.
And then I'm also kind of curious, like being on such a big team and getting injured, because like I know everyone like handles injuries different, guys handle it differently than girls, but having such a big team, do you think it's like easier to be the injured person or harder?
Well, with track, like it's very different for track because like, I grew up playing football. Like I was also recruited to play football in college, but ended up choosing track because I didn't want CTE and all that brain stuff. But a bigger team in track doesn't really mean that we're like close because everybody's got their individual event groups and it's still an individual sport in a sense. So like when I'm practicing, I only practice with like at max like 5 guys at a time. So we're only together as a team maybe once a week and for team meetings and stuff. So like we're trying to do like team bonding things, get everybody together, and like kind of have a sense of a team.
Yeah,
But it's just tough because everybody's so different, doing different things every day.
right.
But there's still definitely a whole lot of support from everybody. Because I mean I bounce around because I'm a multi, so I
Yeah.
train with every event group. So it's definitely nice to have everybody there. supporting me.
Yeah, that's interesting. I feel like sometimes when, like, example soccer teams, like, I mean, like, to me they seem big, but 30 people really isn't that big. And I feel like sometimes even when you're hurt, you get a little lost in the crowd.
Oh yeah, definitely. I definitely felt that my freshman year. So when
Yeah,
I came in, I didn't know anybody and I couldn't train with the team. So I was kind of like alone in my dorm room almost every day, waiting
right,
for my roommates to come back.
right.
Once
Um,
you get out with everybody, it feels a lot smaller once you get.
yeah, I know. I just like, I also feel like I should mention, like, every time I see people running track or like practicing, I just always say I would never do that. Like,
Yeah, I did too. I
like
never wanted to do it.
such
Yeah,
like you run for fun.
yeah. I mean, well, that's why I like the decathlon because I don't have to run for fun. Like I do it mostly so that I can jump, throw, and sprint, and then
Yeah.
the running is just a side effect.
Yeah. Because I was gonna say that's like crazy to me. You're running a 1500, a 100, hurdles. Like that's just like so diverse.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun switching it up.
Um, so let's talk about being a track athlete because I don't think I truly understand. I don't think a lot of the listeners truly understand. Like, how much do you guys practice? Like, what does that look like? Because I just know like running is hard on your body, and to do that every day well has to be very hard. So, kind of just talk about what it's like to be a track athlete.
Yeah, so we do a lot of different things. So to kind of like minimize the stress on like shin splints are like a big injury in track. So we do a lot of different surfaces that we run on. So like we'll run on grass or run on the turf fields and try and stay away from the track kind of. Um, but we'll do a lot of other different movements that simulate running that aren't exactly running. But that's one thing that like separates track from other sports. Like basketball, you can go to open hours and just shoot around. Like
Right.
after practice, spend some extra hours. But with track, like once you're maxed out after your workout, like you don't usually go out for another run
Right.
or anything like that. But so training for me is also a lot different than a sprinter. So usually when I come in, like we'll come in and we'll do like a throw session and then go on a run and then come back and hurdle and then go to the weight room. And that'd be like a normal day for us. But for the sprint guys, like they usually come in, they'll get their workout in and then maybe lift and then go home. And then a lot of rest in between reps and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Because I saw your one TikTok where you did like a day in the life and you literally had like three practices. And I was just,
Yeah.
what? Like,
Yeah, that's mostly just a multi life. Not a lot of people can do it. So like last year we only had 3 guys on the team that did the multi. This year it's me and then another freshman that just came in. Um,
really?
yeah.
Just two
So the
people.
multi, like even in the Big East, like there's only 6 people in the Big East that do the multi.
Wow. So like, how does that work? Like just six people always place? Like how I don't
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
so it's just like who's gonna be number one today?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, but like more back in the American, that was a little bit more competitive. We had, I think like 10 or 12 competitors in the multi, so it made it a little bit more fun. But it's still great. Like the multi is also extremely different than any other sport I've ever played because you're around the same guys every day. Like 2 days straight, you're competing with them, not so much against them. So it's
Right.
like you're rooting for them because like if they beat you in shot put, like that's fine. Like you can go beat them in the hurdles or like beat them in something else. So you're kind of like rooting for everybody to do their best, so it makes it more competitive overall.
I want to take a minute out of this week's episode to say thank you to our sponsor, GT Performance. As Nick was talking about his practice schedule of being a collegiate track and field athlete, I couldn't help but think to myself how important it is to build a strong and healthy foundation to build off of. GT Performance is your go-to place for all your strength needs. GT Performance is a sports performance center in Greensburg, Pennsylvania, where athletes come to sprint faster, jump higher, move quicker, and my favorite, stay healthier. They offer sports performance training and sports physical therapy to help athletes take their game to the next level. Check out their website at gtperformancecenter.com or shoot them a call or text at 724-277-6250 to learn how they can help.
Have you ever thought about doing a triathlon?
No, I'm kind of afraid of swimming.
Really?
Yeah, like I don't know, just something about it. Like we do workouts in the pool, and like it's just not appealing to me. Like when you're sweating, but like you're still in the water.
No, I
Like
agree.
I'm not a fan of it.
I think it's really cool that you still get the diversity in one sport. So like you're not always focused on the same thing, the same position. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and that's kind of like something other than like CTE and other factors like steering me away from football. Like that was kind of like the main deciding factor. Because I was thinking like, all right, if I go and play football for UConn, like I want to be doing the same position every day. I want to be around that same crew every day. I want to be fighting for that starting position every day. But like if I do track, it's kind of like a smaller group. Like we're gonna be training together every day, but doing something different at the same time. I won't get bored of it, and then I'll just have a stronger crew, I thought,
Right.
coming in and out.
So let's divert a little bit because I'm very interested in your TikTok / bus life. So first and foremost, kind of just explain to everyone about your bus.
Yeah, so the bus, it started, I want to say it started in high school. So freshman year of high school, like me and a couple of buddies were sitting around the table and we're like, oh, hey, like let's get a van, let's get a bus, like, let's do something and go travel the country together. And then my teacher overheard us and she's like, hey, by the time you become seniors, you're not going to think this is fun anymore. Like this isn't going to happen. I'm like, all right, like bet, like we're going to make this happen. So then like years went by, like that friend group, like we didn't really hang out that much anymore. But then my sophomore year of college, like I just started building like boats on TikTok. So I started building up a little bit of a following. Um, and then my other friends are like, hey, like we're thinking about buying a bus. Like, would you want to like hop on with us? And I'm like, yeah, like I've been thinking about doing this for a while. Like, let's do it. So we went out, we did it, bought a bus for like $4,000 from a bus lot, and then just started building it out, built it out in like less than a month, and then just started driving around. So we built it so it slept as many people as possible. So like it doesn't have amenities, like it doesn't have a bathroom or a shower or anything, but we're just kind of roughing it, traveling.
Interesting. So I was creeping on your TikTok, obviously. So your friends, like your friends from high school, because you said you grew up close to UConn.
Yeah.
Are they the same friends that you have now?
No, definitely not. Well, not definitely not. Like I still love everybody from my hometown.
Definitely not. No.
Yeah. But it's just different people, you know. So like, I mean, the people that I bought the bus with, they were from my hometown. Those are the kids who like also came to college with me. But we're not like friends anymore, I guess. Like with the bus thing, they weren't very mechanically inclined and they didn't want to like build out more of the bus. So like after the first couple of trips, they were kind of done with it.
Yeah.
So then I just bought them out of their shares so I can own the bus full time and just more like additions to it.
So what is the farthest you've driven your bus?
All the way. I've gone, so last summer I went from Connecticut to New York, then from New York out to Seattle, Washington, and then from Washington down to LA, and then from LA all the way back.
Interesting. By yourself?
No, I had some friends with me.
I was gonna say that's not safe.
Yeah, no, that was fun. So like that was a crazy trip because when we first got on the road, we ended up breaking down in New York, and we thought the trip was over. And we had to go and pick up one of my other buddies. He was in Seattle on a family trip, and his parents left him there. So like his plan was to stay there in like a hotel waiting for us to come pick him up. So he was there waiting, and we're like, hey, like the bus just broke down. I don't think we can make it. He's like, you better make it. Like I'm stranded here.
Oh
so we just got back on the bus, like fixed it, made it work, got out to him, and then picked up a couple of their friends in Seattle, and then drove them down to LA and just came back.
So how did you learn like to do all this? Like how did you learn mechanics of it? Like I know that's like a dude thing to do, but like
Yeah. No, everybody asked me that too. And like most of it was YouTube, honestly. Like I took like woodshop classes and like video production classes in high school. So that kind of helped me, but actually doing it, nothing's the same as like you can learn in a class, especially like building a bus. Like there's no like written book on like how to build a bus. There's no like protocols or anything like what you have with like a house. So most of it was just going on YouTube and like looking at how-to videos and just kind of figuring it out on my own.
is that something like you want to do when you graduate? What are your plans afterwards?
Yeah, I always get asked that question, but I don't really know yet. I'm still trying to figure that out. My parents don't really accept the whole like social media type of thing.
Well, that's what I'm curious about. So let's talk a little bit about TikTok. You have like 1.2 million followers. Are you getting compensated? Like I don't know how it works at all. I really don't.
Yeah. No, I make some money from it, but TikTok also doesn't pay a lot per like view. So like YouTube pays something like, I don't know, a little bit more than $1 a view. That's like the base pay. It's like $1.25 per 1,000 views. I don't know, however it works out on YouTube, pays out a lot more than TikTok. So like if YouTube pays $1.50 per 1,000 views, TikTok pays like 2 cents per 1,000 views.
Oh.
So like a 10 million view video on my page would pay me out like $250. So like views don't really pay anything.
Gotcha.
Anything substantial. But you can make money like through affiliate marketing and like brand deals and stuff like that.
So then you have a YouTube page.
Yes.
Okay. Is that where you do your majority of your posting?
I want to eventually, but YouTube's a lot different than TikTok. So I don't really understand the algorithm enough to like really go fully into it. But honestly, it's kind of like a learn as you go thing. So
Yeah.
like I plan on posting a lot more on it, but it's kind of tough right now, especially like balancing track and like to do a bunch of other things at the same
Right.
time.
I do think that would be a cool perspective though. Like an athlete who also has like this really cool like side gig.
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to figure out how to incorporate both of them because they're both two different groups.
Yeah.
Trying to put them together is kind of tough.
Right. I don't, my dream has always been to be like a YouTuber, but I just like, it's one of those things, it's like scary to start. I don't know if
Oh,
you,
definitely, yeah.
but I don't know. I will link your social medias below. Like, what are some fun facts about you?
I mean, those are pretty much my fun facts. Is like I just do like TikTok. I used to fish a lot, but not so much anymore. Just got really busy. Oh, I'm going on so I was on a TV show last year.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about that.
So last year when I came back from the road trip, like we went cross country, came all the way back, I immediately went right back out to Colorado by myself to go join a TV show. So I didn't think anything of it. I was like driving home from work one day before I left for the cross country trip. And I saw a DM from this guy and he's like, hey, like we have a TV show coming, like I want you on the first season. Like, what do you think? And I'm like, oh, it's like just one of those like fake accounts, like trying to scam me or whatever. And he's like, no, like I'm legit. Here's my phone number. Like I will call you right now. I'm like, okay, I guess it's real. So I got on the phone with him and I was like, I didn't know what to expect. I thought it was gonna be a big scam or something like that. And he just starts talking, explaining the whole thing, and I'm like, okay, like this is legit. Like I think I'd want to be a part of this. So I sent him a couple pictures of the bus and like how I built, and he's like, all right, yeah, like come on out, and whatever the dates were. So drove out there. He sent me coordinates. He didn't even send me an address. He sent me coordinates to middle of nowhere, Colorado, in Alamosa, Colorado. I just drove out there by myself. Took me 3 days to go out to head out there, and then I got there to what I thought were the coordinates, and then I get there and it's just an open field with nothing in it. And I'm like, oh great, I just wasted so much time to get out here. And then I realized I had the wrong coordinates in, so then I fixed it and then ended up finding the actual spot.
So what was the show about?
Yeah, so the show, like the premise of the show is it's all about building like van life.
Oh,
So there was 3 different teams with 7 people on each team. One team had a school bus, one team had an RV, and one team had a van. And they were all completely gutted when we got there. And then each team had 5 days to build it out completely into a living space. And there was like a competition. So then we had judges come around and like see what rig was the best.
wait, that is so cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
What was it called?
It's called Gutted. So right now it's on their platform. I actually have the thing right here. Tag they gave me. So it's like their logo.
Oh, that's so cool.
But yeah, so they have their own platform. It's called Blank Space. You gotta like download the app and then you can watch it for free on there. And then this year they invited me back, but I won't be on the show. They wanted to kind of keep it like different people coming in every year. So like I'll be there like helping out behind the scenes, but I'll still be at the area.
So I'm kind of curious with name, image, and likeness, since you're doing things not because you're an athlete, like I know that's legal now, but how would that work? Like you getting brand deals and you doing things, making money off of like your bus stuff isn't considered your athlete, but you're still an athlete. So is that included in NIL?
So like that's kind of like weird. Like I don't really fully understand that either.
Yeah.
Because that's why I also kind of changed my name online too, because I was doing this before NIL started. But I made sure to keep out me as an athlete completely from it. But now that I am an athlete, like they still want me to like report all my earnings. But if I'm making stuff off of being a bus guy or like a TikTok guy, then I'm not gonna report that through.
Yeah, I don't think that's fair.
Yeah, and then but I have gotten NIL deals through like so our school uses Open Doors, which is like a NIL management company, I guess. So they connect brands to athletes, and it all happens through UConn. So I got one deal through there that they reached out to me. I don't know if it was for an athlete or whatever. So I was messaging back and forth with the brand. I mentioned how I had a bus, and then I ended up doing the deal with the bus rather than as an athlete.
Gotcha. Very cool. And what are some other brand deals that you've done? Just because I'm intrigued by it.
Yeah, so I did my first real brand deal Well, so I had one when I had 25,000 followers. This is like before I bought a boat, before I did like anything that I'm doing now. And then that was oh, what was it? It was something Greenleaf. It was like some energy. It wasn't even an energy tea. It was like a detox tea.
Okay.
It was terrible. I hated the product, but they gave it to me for free, and I was like, "Oh, this is so cool! I didn't know I get free stuff just for like making videos. I thought it was the coolest thing ever." So I did it. And then after that, I kind of like didn't do TikTok for a while. Then I started building it up again. And my first real brand deal was Skyrim, which is a portable Wi-Fi company. They give you like a little hockey puck. I don't have it in here, but I have it somewhere. It's probably in the bus.
Mhm.
But it's like literally just a little hockey puck, and then you pay for a monthly subscription, and then it's Wi-Fi wherever you are. So that was pretty cool. I did like 2 videos for them. Um, use their Wi-Fi while I was making the videos, which is super cool.
Yeah.
And then the next brand deal after that, I did one for this company. It's called Iceco, and they make like refrigerators that are for outdoor living. So it's like super low voltage, I guess. So like it uses less battery power, so you can use it on your solar system. So I have solar in the bus, and you can't just use a normal refrigerator; like it'll just drain it like quick. So while I was in LA, I met with people in the company. We stopped at their office, and they gave me 2 refrigerators. That was kind of cool. Went to LA and came back with 2 refrigerators. Like it's pretty cool.
So this might be a dumb question, but obviously products, like you're given the product to then like persuade other people to buy it. Are you also compensated with money?
Yeah. So that depends on the deal too. Like if it's a product that I really stand by, like I try not to do brand deals that aren't like associated with me. So
Right.
when I first did that tea brand deal, like I really didn't want to do it, but it was only when I only had 25,000 followers, so it really didn't matter. Um, but yeah, usually like if it's something that I usually would not do, so like the most recent one that I got through NIL through Open Doors was Celestial Seasonings, which is a tea company. And like it could kind of go hand in hand with what I do, but it's not something that I normally would have done.
Right.
But they offered a whole lot of compensation, so I was like, all right, like let's do it. Why not?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if there's a product that I really like, so like the Ice Go one, like I didn't receive any payment for it. I just got the coolers, and I'm like, all right, this is cool. I'm good with it.
I think that's so cool that like I don't know, it's hard when you're an athlete, like you don't have time for a job like normal people. So I think it's really cool like that opportunities are given like that now.
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
Um, I'm just kind of curious because this is an injury podcast. Do you think like has your injury have had any impact on like the things you do outside of sport now? Like does it like make you appreciate things more? Does it make you enjoy things more? I'm just kind of curious like the parallel between your injury and like all the cool things that you get to do on social media now.
Yeah, and honestly, I think I have to credit all my social media to injuries. Because my freshman year when I was injured, like I was watching my roommates go out and like do great at these meets, these big meets. They go to travel every single weekend, and I was stuck in the dorm room just watching them travel. And I'm like, man, I wish I could do this, but I can't. So like, that just motivated me more to do something bigger with my life, I guess. So then sophomore year came, I still wasn't really doing social media, but I was still injured. Then my first meet back, second event of my heptathlon indoors, I tore my hamstring. And it was only a grade 2 tear, so like I ended up coming back by the end of the season. But it was just like a big slap in the face. Like I worked so hard to get back and like try and compete, and then it was just another injury. And I got back and ready for outdoor, then COVID hit. So then that was like another, like we got a red shirt for that season as well. But that just hurt even more. So then I'm like, all right, like, I got nothing else to do with my life. Like because I was injured and now COVID, like let's start doing something with like making videos. Like I always like doing that. But then I started doing the TikTok thing after that. And I think if I wasn't injured my freshman year, I probably wouldn't have started.
Right. And I mean, that's how I found you was I was like literally searching injured athletes and I saw your TikTok and I was like, oh, like this is sick that like, I don't know, like putting it on social media for thousands of people to see, intimidating sometimes.
Yeah, totally. And I think it's been a big, like, kind of like a restriction for me. Like this whole summer, like it's been tough. Like every single day you wake up and you just can't do what you were able to do like the day before. So like learning how to walk again, like it's tough. And trying to like stay happy, stay positive, and like be able to post videos at the same time is like something I just wasn't able to do this summer. So like I have in my camera roll, I have like a bunch of videos that like I wanted to make, but I just wasn't like there enough. Like I was too focused on trying to be able to walk and be able to run again that kind of took everything over for me.
Okay, I'm also curious about your thoughts on like mental health, being vulnerable, and then like showing that on social media? Because you just mentioned like there are videos you wanted to make but like couldn't. Like, is that something like one that is even on your mind, like your mental health and like kind of how it's presented to other people? Or are you just kind of like, you just don't really think about that?
Yeah, like I try not to think about it, because I think the more that I think about it, the more that it's gonna affect me. So I kind of just try and put it in the back pocket, like just power through, and then eventually find that thing that's gonna keep me going.
Okay.
But it's definitely tough. For some people, they can't do that, and like it's definitely hard. You can't just kind of power through. So, I believe in social on mental health and like getting help when you need it. But just for me, like I think that I'm just trying to make it work without doing that.
No, I think that's fair. And like, I'm somebody who, when I first got hurt, I saw a sports psychologist for a long time. And now I'm like at the point, it's like, I still struggle, but I don't feel that I'm at a place where I need to like seek those resources anymore. Do you know what I mean? And like, I think that everyone has their own way of going about it. And like, some people handle things better. Some people aren't affected the same. Some people like to do things on their own. And I think that's okay. But I think like, I feel like sometimes, there's a stigma against mental health, but there's also stigma like, oh, if they don't go and use resources, then they don't believe in it.
Yeah, totally. And I think like I don't usually talk about it either because I feel like there's always somebody that's got it worse.
Right.
So like trying to post about it on social media where I'm like, oh, like I'm injured, I can't do track, like I'm sad, like somebody who lost their arm in Afghanistan or something, like they're gonna be like, oh, like this is stupid, I don't care about that. Like somebody's always got it worse. So like I don't want to try and like push something out.
Interesting. I see that. I also think though, like at some point, you have to like let yourself feel that way. Like it is a big deal. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, totally. Like, I think personally it's a big deal, but I try not to like show it as affecting me, I guess, because then other people kind of get down. I just think like the way that I'm seeing it is like you just got to kind of like everybody's gonna have a struggle. Like if you blow your struggle out of proportion, then you're gonna start to feel the depression and feel the worries of the world. But if you just keep pushing through and kind of like see that it's all on you, and like if you try and reach out to somebody, like maybe it won't help, but it could like and force it on, not force it, but like the options are there if you need it. But if you don't need it, then just keep powering through.
So what's next for you? What's next with like track? What's next with like recovery, the bus, social media?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm still getting back on my feet right now. Still trying to walk. Well, now I'm running, so that's a big step for me. But yeah, just getting back into the swing of like making videos is gonna be the first step. So it's gonna be tough, I think. Just because like when I was first doing it, I was doing videos every single day. It's like
Wow.
I would stay up later than everybody else. I'd wake up earlier than everybody else just so that I could make the videos. Like when I was traveling with my friends, like they go to bed around like 11 o'clock or whatever. I'd stay up until like 3 a.m. making videos and wake up at 6 a.m. to like prepare for the next video and stuff like that. So like burning out is like kind of like a worry, but it's something I can't like think about.
Right.
Just
Wow. What do you use to edit?
I use so like on my computer I have Adobe Premiere.
That's
But I don't use that for my TikToks. I have this other app. It's called like Video Shop. It's something that was free and it's just super easy to like quickly make a video. So I use that for all of my TikToks.
interesting. I might hit you up. I would love to get into doing videos and stuff. Like, I don't know. I'm just like scared. I don't know why. Like, doesn't matter. Like, you have to just do it to get started.
Yeah, honestly, like you're gonna fail, but just
Like,
get back up, learn from your mistakes, and then keep going.
I don't know. I've always thought track was so interesting because there's just like such a multitude of people. Like you have your big dudes who are the throwers, and then like your skinny leg runners. Like it's just like I think it's so cool. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's definitely like the team dynamics definitely weird. Not weird, but like everybody gets along. But it's just so funny, like looking in the locker room and seeing like a 100-pound distance kid next to a 350-pound thrower, like around the same team.
What are some PRs?
So I was really excited about the 100 because like I've always been like trying to break 11. So like the day before I tore my Achilles, I ran 10:96 in the 100. Um, Long jump PR I think is like 688 meters, so like 22 high I think in feet. Shot put was 1345, which I think is like 44 feet, 45 feet, maybe something like that. High jump is 2 meters, so 6'7". 400 in the open floor, I think is like a 50 point something, like 50 point.
That's good.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
I was gonna say, I don't know the field events very well, but running numbers relate to.
And then pole vault, I didn't know pole vault before I came to college. Like I kind of just did it because it was part of the decathlon. So like once I got some like actual coaching, I ended up getting to like 420, I think, or 421 in meters. I don't really know what that is in feet. I think it's like 13 something maybe. The mile, not a fan of the mile. Absolute worst event. I don't even know what my PR is in that. So like for the 1500, I think it's like, oh, what is it? I think it's like 450 something. Yeah, I think it's like 455. It's like my PR in the 1500. Javelin PR is 53 meters, I think. So it's like 180-ish, 175. I don't know, like it's hard because I don't really think about like my individual PRs. I just think of like overall PR.
Right. If you had to just do one event, what would it be?
Probably throws. They have the life. Like, yeah, like every day at practice, they're just kind of chilling. Like they just lift heavy.
That's fair.
They don't worry about having to run. I'd probably do like, I don't know, javelin's more of like an athletic throws. So either like javelin, maybe I feel like being good at discus would be fun. Like I'm not good at discus, so like I don't really like it right now. But if you're good at discus, I feel like it'd be fun.
Okay, my last question. I love asking people this. What advice would you give to somebody who like is going through an injury, let's say, first piece of advice, second piece of advice, someone who like wants to put themselves out there and pursue like social media or something that's a little uncomfortable at first, how would you tell them to get started?
So we'll start with injury. Coming back from an injury, like just focus on the little achievements, like finally walking, finally moving your feet, moving your toes, and then just progress every single day. Because every day it's going to get better and you're not going to notice it if you think big picture, like, oh, I can't run, I can't walk right now, but like, hey, you can move your foot. Like focus on what you can do, not what you can't do. And then that'll help get the momentum going and just heal quicker. And then anybody trying to get started in the creative world of like creating videos, like put yourself out there. Don't be afraid of what people think about you because that's what's going to hold you back. And especially like when I first started TikTok, like start doing something on your own and don't tell your friends about it. Because once you tell your friends about it, you're going to overthink everything. So like start a second account, like don't tell anybody about it. Just work on it every day. You can focus on it. You don't have to talk to anybody about it. And then it's like your own little secret. And then you can just put everything into it and nobody will know.
Oh, I really like that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's how I started. That's why I liked it in the beginning. I started my second account. I didn't tell anybody about my TikTok and I just kind of did it.
Yeah. Well, it's true. We like put so much weight on what other people think.
Yeah, totally. And like even now, like I don't like that people know that I have a TikTok. So like it's just weird. Like I went from being able to make videos and then just meeting the strangers on the road. Like people would stop me like, oh my God, like I've seen you on TikTok. Like, can we get a picture? I'm like, oh yeah, of course. Like that's great. But now that I'm here, it's like the people that I see every day are now like seeing my videos.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, like I make some jokes on there that aren't always acceptable. So like I'm always getting like a little bit worried, like, oh, like what video did you see? Like
Right.
that type of stuff.
Oh,
But
that's really cool.
overall it's all right, you know.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all I have. I don't know. I just think it's really cool. Like I'm definitely gonna share all of your TikTok and your YouTube with everyone. And like, I mean, I learned something from you. Like, I don't know. I think it's important to like be authentic to yourself and like take risks.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the other thing with like content creation is like viewers are smart. I mean, like obviously you're a viewer, everybody's a viewer, like you got a bunch of viewers, but people see through like I guess like they see through bullshit. I don't know if I can say that on your podcast, but like people like they just see through it. So like if you're being somebody that you're not, you're trying to put on a face and like just show off for the camera or whatever, like they're gonna see through it.
Yeah.
Like you gotta be authentic and just be yourself because people appreciate that more than trying to be someone you're not.
Right there. That's the title of the episode. Be authentic, be yourself.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, that's really it. Like I don't know, like all the big creators. Like I was listening to a podcast with DeGion, whatever his name is. He's like up and coming right now on YouTube, and he was on Logan Paul's podcast, and like they were talking about how when they meet people from social media, they'll be like, "Oh, like you're the same exact person as you are in the videos," and like that's really the ticket. Like just be who you are in your videos. If you're gonna make a video or a podcast, like whatever it is, just be yourself.
Yeah, I really like that because I think there's like, for instance, I watch a lot of YouTubers who are like the girly influencer, you know what I mean? And a lot of people say like when they meet them, like they're like not the same person that they are in front of the camera. Like they're putting on a show.
Yeah, and that's hard to keep up too because it's almost like a perpetual lie, I guess. Like you gotta like put on this face every time you talk to somebody, and then you'll never have like that downtime of just being yourself.
Right. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Seriously, like I loved getting to chat with you and meet you, and like I think you're doing really cool things.
Yeah, you as well. This podcast is pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. I've never seen anybody do this and like talk about the things that need to be talked about. So.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Maybe we can work together on a brand deal one day.
Yeah, totally.
All right. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.